Today's episode feels especially meaningful to me. If you've been listening for a while, you know that this podcast is co-created with my daughter, Nicole. And while you've heard her voice and felt her presence, today we're slowing things down and gently turning the spotlight toward her. It's a chance for you to get to know Nicole and for her to share her unique story with all of you. Nicole has walked her own path, one shaped by challenges, courage, and a tremendous commitment to her own growth and healing. One that is separate but intertwined with my own. So, wherever you're listening from, I invite you to settle in, take a breath, and join us in this intimate mother-daughter conversation. Nicole, thank you for doing this with me today.
Oh my goodness. Before we started, I was saying I don't normally go into episodes blind. Usually I kind of take on the role of producer. Like we have a general idea. We try and keep it as authentic as possible, but truly I've never gone into it blind. And what a pleasant surprise. I'm so excited to sit down with you today and dive into my story a little bit.
Exactly. Yes. And so, for anyone who may be meeting you for the first time, how would you describe who you are right now in your life?
Okay, how I would describe myself right now, I am on the other side of a big transformation. Healing has been a big part of my life for quite some time, and I know it's called a journey for a reason, where you're not always reaching for this one destination. You're constantly evolving, constantly growing. But where I am right now on the other side of a particular healing journey, I truly feel like I'm the most confident version of myself. I feel almost undeniable in my sense of purpose, in my sense of I know I want to help people. I know I want to share my love and light with people, help people change their lives. And it is so undeniable in me right now, this confidence of this is what I'm meant to be doing. I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. I'm the best version of myself. It's safe for me to share that version of myself, to show up fully, and really just allow me to be authentic in all who I am. That is the phase of life I'm in right now.
Okay, and that's fantastic. I love that. So, if we were to maybe think back, just going back maybe to your origin story a little bit, if you were to think back to your childhood, what were you like as a little girl? What parts of that version of you are still very much alive today?
Aw, I have so much compassion for my inner child, my little Nicole. And like when I think of her, she was just so sweet and kind and caring. The story that comes to mind that you've shared, it's not necessarily in my conscious mind, but I've heard this memory. In like kindergarten or preschool, there would be kids crying on the playground or whatever maybe happened that caused them to be upset. I was kind of quiet, unassuming. I'm just kind of watching everything around me, but I would go and comfort and soothe the little boy or girl who was upset, and I would just sit and rub their back and just silently be with them. And that's funny thinking of that as an origin story because it wasn't verbal. I wasn't giving them a pep talk. It was truly just an energetic exchange. But it's just funny thinking back then, even how sensitive I was to energy and just sharing my love and light, comforting someone, rubbing their back, like helping them feel safe and taken care of. And I think that part of me is still very much alive in my adult self.
Well, and that was you as like a 2.5-year-old, a 3-year-old. Like that is your authentic self expressing. They didn't have to be your best friend, just anyone that you felt was in need. You did that. And like that was surprising because that's developmentally not how little 2-year-olds respond or even 3-year-olds. So that was really lovely to witness. And that's truly how you are in your life. And so growing up, what experiences or moments do you feel shaped the way you see the world now? Do you have anything that comes to
Ooh.
mind?
That's a pretty big one. Yeah, the first one that comes to mind happened not like too early on, but I would say I was in grade 8 I was wanting to go out into the school play. The school play was Peter Pan. I think I had a little bit of an introduction to plays, maybe in elementary school, when you just kind of are showing up, you're the tree in the back. I don't know. But I sort of was opening up to this idea of performing. And Peter Pan felt like a really exciting opportunity. I felt this confidence in me that I knew I wanted to be the star of that play. I wanted to be Wendy. So I had this confidence and this conviction energy that in my auditions, I was doing my monologues, I was practicing, I was feeling so confident and excited. And there wasn't ever a time in my brain that I was like, I'm not the star of this show. Like, this is happening. So I had this conviction energy. Picture, it's literally like in the movies. They put the cast list up on a bulletin board. Everyone's running around to it. And I knew I had gotten far. Like I had callbacks. It was looking promising. They put this list up on the bulletin board. I go to look. I'm feeling so good. I'm so excited. And I look, and my name is not beside Wendy Darling. It is on the list, however, as Captain Hook. And in this moment, I can tell you, I had a full crash out. I remember coming home just crying. How could this happen to me? I'm supposed to be the star of the play. They want me to be a boy pirate. Like, what? Wendy Darling was going to be this beautiful feminine. Ooh, she's in her nightgown. And they want me to be a pirate? Like, what is going on? I was truly devastated. I was like, do I pull out of the play? Like, is this a joke? And I literally remember my mom, like, having this calm, you always do. In any moment, you're always there, but you have such a calm knowing, and you're like, Nicole, I'm getting the sense that this is going to be better than you could imagine. Like, stick with it. And maybe, like, I know this isn't what you thought, but like, stick with it, have an open mind, and let's just see where this goes. So it's kind of like, ugh, okay, fine. I won't drop out of the play as like a revenge F you. I'll stick with it. And that moment or that experience truly has helped shape my life in the way that the biggest blessings truly come in the most unexpected packages, and things always work out better than you can imagine. And rejection is protection or redirection, whatever saying resonates, because what ended up happening is I did lean in all the way, and I leaned in as this pirate. I actually somehow, I guess one of my talents is accents, and I fully had a British accent. My best friend was Smee. It's like Captain Hook and Smee are like the duo. It was my best friend. So we got to rehearse together. We got to be our weird, fun, silly selves. We choreographed a tap dance. It was so incredible, and I truly had so much fun. And the truth of the matter was that I was the star of the play. I truly was in this leading main character role that brought out such performance quality in me that perhaps if I played Wendy wouldn't have come out. It allowed me to be bold, to be big, to take up space. And of course, it worked out better than I could imagine because I ended up winning the Performing Arts Award from that. So truly just overall such an amazing experience that I was trying to control the outcome. I really wanted to be Wendy, and the universe had other plans for me. And if I stuck on the path of this didn't work out, like, I can't see how this is going to work, I'm a failure, whatever, if I didn't stick with it and trust that the universe had a bigger and better plan for me, I wouldn't have had that amazing life-changing experience. And I went on from there actually to go to acting camp in New York. It was called Stage Door, which was so much fun. Really brought out this performance quality in me, this creative performer who is a part of my authentic self. I love being on stage. So that is a really pivotal moment in my journey that sticks with me. And I know everything happens for a reason. That was in preparation because I actually, now in April 25th, I will be speaking as an international on-stage speaker at Rich Coded Live. So it's just really interesting to see how everything is coming full circle, that performance, that stage presence. I'm ready to step back into that. And that Peter Pan Captain Hook moment really shaped or was a big turning point in my life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I will say this, Nicole didn't, when she went to stage door, she actually won a couple of awards there as well. So, yay! And that really did bring out another aspect of like a gift, talent, or mastery that was lying dormant, and she was able to pursue that a little bit more. So, yay, that was a really fun experience. It was fun as your mom watching that evolve as well. So fantastic. Okay, so now I just want to shift this a little bit because we all go through experiences that help us grow, even when they're uncomfortable. What would you say has been one of the most challenging or transformative experiences of your life so far? Would you say it was that Captain Hook school one, or is there something else that you can think of that has been extremely uncomfortable, challenging, but also transformative in your life? Can you think of anything else
Yeah,
that's
that's such a
transformed?
great question. As I mentioned, a journey, there is not one singular destination. So I continue to have these moments of uncovering, of transformation, of healing. But one that I like can pinpoint back to a transformation point in my life was at a time when I was going through my first breakup, which honestly I think is a common theme for a lot of people. That is where a lot of transformation happens. You are feeling vulnerable, you're feeling heartbroken, you're feeling devastated, you're questioning yourself, your self-worth, your self-love. Is anyone ever going to love me? Am I going to find someone, right? You're in this vulnerable state, and it is such a pivotal and invitational moment to really go inward and be with yourself. Have that period of time. You've just been with someone, whether that was codependent or you have this attachment, and now you're fully on your own. And it really gives you that permission and that space to find your foundation again and rebuild it in the way that you want to. That's in alignment with you and where you want to go. So for me, that was in that breakup time. I really leaned in to my healing journey with doing Reiki with you. I can't remember how often I've been doing Reiki pretty much my whole life. So sessions are a blur because it's just constantly evolving. I constantly am having maintenance and things coming up. But at that time, how old was I? 19, 20. I was really willing to do the work. It kind of felt like I was hitting rock bottom. I knew I didn't feel like my best self, and I knew I had an opportunity to choose differently, to pivot, to create, to find, to show up as the best version of myself. So that journey for me really stemmed around uncovering self-worth wounds, not feeling worthy, not feeling good enough, constantly feeling like I need to prove myself. I've spoke about this issue, I think online before, but I guess not on the podcast. Around this time, I was really stressed with school. I was in competitive dance. I really was just feeling so stretched thin that I ended up developing extreme chronic inflammation and gut issues. I was severely allergic to gluten and dairy. Like, I would eat a crumb, I would call it getting poisoned, and I would inflate and explode to look 9 months pregnant just from bloating with this food. And I had this for about 6 years. So it wasn't just, oh, a little season of gut imbalance. No, this was like a chronic issue that I had. And when I was going through my healing journey post breakup, Cindy and I were working a lot in my solar plexus area, which has to do with your personal power, how you see yourself, your self-worth, which is where a lot of my intestines were and a lot of my bloating issues were happening. And when I was able to get to the root causes of my limiting beliefs, I actually fully healed my gut issues. I can eat anything I want now. I haven't had an issue in almost a decade. Like, this was such a pivotal moment of my healing, truly getting to the root cause of starting to love myself, whether again or for the first time, feeling this self-love, feeling this worthiness that I am worthy. I don't need to prove myself. I don't need someone to tell me they love me for me to feel worthy. I don't need to be in a different body to feel worthy. I was in competitive dance. A lot of body issues or body image issues come up around that. I know for a lot of people who have been in dance. So, really letting go of those rules I had set for myself and starting to create my own, starting to feel more confident, starting to love myself for who I am. And that was such a pivotal time in my life, as I said, almost a decade ago, that I know if I could see my life in two paths, that is where I chose a different path to go in, to get to know myself, to be on this healing journey, which has led me to such an incredible place. So I think that's, if that answered your question, that's like my pivotal time in my life where
Okay.
transformation began, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that was a hard time. And that was a time when there weren't a lot of products on the market that were gluten-free or dairy-free, not like there is now. And so that was in our household, I was having to prepare separate things for the family. But we got through that. Yay. And you're on the other side of it. So that
Thankfully.
is fantastic. So, okay. So you feel that was a turning point where something shifted inside of you that you realized you were changing, would you say?
I think so. That's the one that's coming to mind because when I did that work, I think I was on a co-op term. I went to school for business and I we got to do co-op terms. So I was working at an accounting firm, which I can get into either this time or another time, but I was not very happy. I was having a really hard time. So this healing journey allowed me during this hard time to really go deep. And what actually ended up happening was you planted the seed of when you're ready to find your next relationship, what is it you're looking for? Let's get crystal clear because, again, breakups are so transformative. You learn so much. You learn what you like, what you don't like, what you'll put up with, what you deserve, all the things. And so you helped me get really clear on like where we're moving. Who is it that you're attracting? Who's in your corner? Who's your partner? And the word that will forever stick with me is I was looking for a partner where I felt cherished. And you introduced that word. And feeling cherished, like that's such an all-encompassing word. It's respect, it's love, it's compassion, it's all the things. So in that time, I got clear on where I was heading, on who I was becoming. I set this intention that my next partner will cherish me. I will feel cherished. And it felt like it was coming to a completion at the end of that co-op term. I remember coming downstairs one day and just saying, Mom, I feel like I'm ready. And you're like, what do you mean? And I said, there's this inner knowing that it feels like I'm ready for a relationship. Like I'm not searching for it. I'm not going to like try, but just whatever happens, like I feel good and I feel ready. And I remember declaring that to you. And a week later is when I met my now fiance, who truly cherishes me every single day on every level, is my dream partner that I truly feel like I manifested better than I could imagine. And that's why I think I say that breakup time because if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have been in the place. I wouldn't have been ready. I wouldn't have been on this frequency to attract a partner of that quality, right? So I truly feel there have been so many events since then, but that feels like the pivotal moment that I chose differently and I started to attract different circumstances in my life.
Okay. Yeah. And that was about a year of self-discovery
Hmm.
after your breakup. You were having Reiki almost weekly, moving through that. And that was, I was so proud of you for doing that because you were a young woman and committed to your spiritual journey. I was delighted that you wanted to do that. And I'm always proud of you. So, yay, fantastic. Okay. And so, what's a lesson you've had to learn the hard way? And how do you feel that lesson has shaped who you are now? Is there
Hmm.
anything that comes to mind? And perhaps the story that you were alluding to just a few moments ago.
Talking about my accounting experience.
Yes, I am. Yeah. So, what's a lesson you feel you've had to learn the hard way? And how do you feel that lesson has shaped who you are now?
I honestly, I put that part of my life to the side quite a bit now that I have to open, not that I've pushed it down, but I need to open the hatch to even remember to put myself back in that place because it was probably the darkest time. I know I mentioned the breakup, that was pivotal, but the darkest time when I was in the trenches was in this career that I chose because it felt like the safe route. Here I was in business school. I'm a type A. I like math, I like numbers. In university, I'm honestly sending out so much love to anyone in university, in college, in trying to figure out what you want to do with your life because it truly feels like there's so much pressure to pick the perfect thing when in reality, it really is about collecting learning experiences. And I feel like people make a decision so quickly based on pressure of feeling like they need to have it figured out, feeling like they need to choose the acceptable path. So that is what I did, and I went into accounting. Anyone who knows me post accounting, when I tell them that, they're like, I cannot even picture you in that field. Like, I don't even know how you did that. Yeah, because it didn't feel good and it wasn't for my highest good, but the experience was because I learned so much. So, anyways, I chose this path that felt safe and secure and steady. So I did co-ops. Again, I'm just following everyone else. What's the big name brand that would make me feel enough? If I got a job at one of the biggest companies, that would show that I'm good enough. That would show that I'm smart enough. That would show and prove to me that I'm worthy. I was sourcing my worthiness, my validation very externally rather than having that internal sense of, I know I'm smart. I know I'm enough. Any company would be lucky to have me. No, this was pre-healing journey, so it was very external based validation. So I ended up working at KPMG as a co-op, and I worked there for about 3 years, including post-grad, and I had a particularly rough experience, rougher than anyone I know who went in the profession. And I think in hindsight, looking back, it truly was the universe. Like everything needed to happen to get me to the place, honestly, to be like, F this. I can't do this anymore. So I had it pretty rough. I had it where I was just thrown into situations with no guidance. I was on files as a junior with no senior who is the person who shows you how to do everything, who shows you the ropes, who you can ask questions to, who is actually experienced. Yeah, I didn't have that. So I would have to like lead these crazy big files all on my own. It truly felt like the weight of the world was on my shoulders. My stress, I can't even like explain. I would cry myself to sleep after working 16-hour days every day for 3 months. It was torture. And this time in my life, I also was leaning very heavily on Reiki. Cindy would have to intervene daily, probably. Like, I didn't have time to like listen into a session. So it would be like, all right, I have 10 minutes as I'm eating my dinner and wiping away a tear. Can you help me like just bring my energy to baseline? It was so draining, soul sucking. Those are the words that are coming to life. Like I was just going through the motions and truly suffering and drowning, which I'm sending so much love and compassion to that version of me because it really didn't feel like there was a way out. It felt like I didn't have a choice. This is just the working world. Suck it up. If you want to be successful in life, you just put up with this. And in that time, a big lesson that came out from that was learning to speak up for myself. As I was mentioning, I didn't have a senior, I didn't have someone who typically looks out for you and helps you. I didn't have that, so that forced me, as uncomfortable as it was, to learn to be that for myself, to stand up where other juniors weren't having to do that, weren't being put in that position. They didn't need to speak to higher up people and partners to say, this is not okay, I need help.
Yeah.
I
I
had
remember
that.
you didn't even have a manager who knew what was
No.
going on either. And they were expecting you to complete the file as the junior and figure it all out. It was devastating as a mom. So you were in Nova Scotia, I was in Ontario, in Toronto, and you're calling home crying because you're just so worn out, physically exhausted, mentally exhausted, having these unreasonable expectations piled on you. And there was, anyway, it was a heck of a time in your
There,
life, that is for sure.
yeah, no, there wasn't a lifeboat. Like I truly was drowning. And stressful in the way that it wasn't just like, oh, there's a lot on you. No, we have tight deadlines. And in accounting, you are reporting to like big companies, banks. There are deadlines. Like it's not just, oh, this gets pushed back. No, like this physically needs to be done for
Hmm.
the sake of these giant corporations. And it literally was landing all on me, which is
Yeah.
so unacceptable.
Yeah.
Like to put someone that young in that position
Hmm.
is just horrific. I'm very grateful that typically I don't have anxiety or I don't struggle with anxiety or panic attacks, but in that time, I was probably like nearing panic attacks like every day for like a month straight. It was crazy. I actually remember part of the coping because as I said, I literally called my mom every day. She'd be like, "Okay, Nicole, let's make this fun. Next time you're on a call, because I would be on these calls that I didn't need to be there and it was so stressful. She said, "Why don't you try and paint your nails? That can be your joy of the day. You can sit on this work call and like listen and paint your nails." So that was at that time, that was literally the joy of my day as I would like fall into bed at 1 a.m. Oh, I got to paint my nails on that call.
So you were working more than 16-hour days. I can tell you that. Mm.
Yeah, the lesson from there, as brutal as that was, as chaotic and stressful and horrible, it taught me that I could speak up and I could be a leader. Because do you know what? In the end, I did run those files. I did run them to completion. I did it without a senior, without a manager. I freaking did it. And I'm so proud. And I stepped up to the occasion. As much as it was like killing me, I did it. And I proved to myself that I am a leader. I could be a leader. And it also forced me to speak up for my needs halfway through when it was truly becoming unbearable. I had to escalate it high up to say, listen, I need support. Why don't I have a senior? Why don't I have a manager? Why don't I have staff? And because I did that, they were able to send someone in to help. And I think it was a senior at the time. She came on the file and said, Nicole, I physically do not know how you were doing this on your own. Even me stepping in with all my knowledge, like this is insane. And like she was struggling. So she was just like, I hope you are so proud of yourself. This is insane. But because I was able to speak up, get that support, I was able to finish it without going crazy. I mean, I already did go crazy. I don't even know what the other outcome would be. I don't know.
No, you kept it together, but you were, I say in this fragile state. You were
Yeah,
in a fragile state where you had me as a lifeline. You had
literally.
me as a lifeline. Had you not had that in place, yes, things would have turned out in a different way.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
unfortunate as that experience was, and that was just one file I was giving an example of. I mean, I was on many, many, many files, but probably three or four like catastrophic files that, yeah. So it was a lot. And having gone through that, I eventually hit a breaking point that said, you know what? This doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel aligned. This does not feel like my best self. If this is the career path, I do not want anything to do with it. And that it gave me the clarity that I'm not thriving here. I'm not well, inside and outside of work. It was taking all of my time. I wasn't able to take care of myself. I was out of shape. I physically didn't have time to work out, which is a big, big energy center for me. Being able to move my body and exercise is a big energy giver. I wasn't able to do that. So the physical was falling, the mental was falling. Then I just was not feeling good. And if this was the trajectory of that career path, I was going to be doomed. So thankfully, I was doing inner work to realize that I did have the strength. I could be a leader. I do have free will and I can choose differently. And that is what led me down the path to quit my corporate job, leave the corporate world behind, leave the safe and ordinary path to do something different and do something extraordinary where my soul was connected to it, where my soul felt like it was living in its purpose, which was quitting my job to work with Cindy and help her build her Reiki energy healing business because that felt, oh, like I can't even verbalize getting to do that. See the transformation that people were experiencing, the life-changing effects, people coming out of depression, people finding their dream careers, people magnetizing their dream partners, people feeling love again for themselves. All of these amazing transformations that come from your work, your Reiki energy healing, was truly starting to fill up my cup and fulfilling me on a level I had never felt. And Yeah, I know I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Having gone down that path, I branched out even further. I went back to school to become a registered health and wellness coach to I mentioned before, movement, being well, feeling physically and mentally well is a huge, huge part of my life and something I'm really passionate about. So I went back to school to be able to help to teach and help transform others in that way. And now, even more aligned, I get to work alongside Cindy. We have this beautiful podcast where we're able to collaborate together, but I now am able to stand on my own as well with my own business. And all of these things have come from each step of the way, from each learning, from each lesson, from each setback, from each fall. Everything has happened so perfectly to get me where I am today. And I'm honestly so grateful for the journey. And I would do it again if that meant being here where I am, living in my purpose. I would do it again just to be here.
Wow. Wow. That's quite a statement because I know how how that was. So if you would be willing to do that again, that's something.
Hmm.
So have you ever had a moment where you surprised yourself by trusting yourself more deeply than ever before? Have you ever surprised yourself that you've actually followed this intuition, trusted it in the deepest way that you had ever done before? Perhaps an example was that you quit your corporate job. You're already a CPA. You worked so hard to get that designation. And then, gosh, your intuition said, nope, this isn't for me. This isn't
Yeah.
for me. And I need to follow a different path. And you did. You
Yeah.
did do that. That was a leap of faith to
100%.
I remember the day that you called me. You said, Mom, I just had an epiphany.
I did. Yeah.
I want to come and work with you. Can I do that? But would you say that was perhaps a moment where you surprised yourself by truly just launching into a different area? Or can you think of another example where you've done that and really surprised yourself?
That's a really good one. I will say, like, there was such a deep knowing that I couldn't ignore anymore. Like, there was no path forward other than this. Did I know what that would look like? I was ready and willing to go work like three jobs to make money. The how was not my concern. I was leading with that knowing of I need to do this because I know it will lead to such an extraordinary aligned life. Right now, can I see that? Is it logistically in front of me? No. But I had to follow that knowing that this is what I needed to do. And that was such a leap of faith. And
Mhm.
yeah, it has surprised me the outcome of now having two beautiful, amazing businesses where we're helping so many people. Yeah. Another one I will say that I've felt recently, maybe it was less of like a leap of faith, but where I surprised myself in how much I was able to trust in the outcome was recently. I have allowed myself to dream bigger. I've allowed myself to claim bigger visions and dreams of where I'm going. And one of them was giving a TED Talk or being a speaker. And once I fully and boldly claimed this and started speaking this to you, to my mentors, to my friends, I did surprise myself because within a week or 2 weeks of me claiming this and getting myself on board, being like, all right, this is happening. I'm accepting my fate. I don't know how, but I'm doing this. I'm going all in. Within 2 weeks, I got the invitation to be an on-stage speaker giving a TED Talk style talk. It literally fell in my lap. And that surprised me because how easy it came and how easy it can be when we truly do surrender and trust the universe. We don't need to
Mhm.
try and force and control every outcome. I was fully just accepting, and I surprised myself how beautiful an outcome came from that, and that I'm following my dreams and I'm manifesting things left and right. That did surprise me, but also not too surprising because I had this knowing. It was like an undeniable, this is happening, this is the way it gets to be.
Mhm. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, that's very exciting, and I'm looking forward to that. So, yay!
Yay.
Yay, you. So, let's talk a little bit about us. So, in what ways do you think our dynamic might serve or encourage others?
I think our dynamic shows that it is safe to be fully you. Cindy and I are both very unapologetically ourselves, our silly, goofy, funny. We laugh at our
Yeah.
own jokes. We
Yes, we do.
Yep.
I do. I will claim that. Yep, I
If
do.
you're watching on video on YouTube, we are both very expressive. We
Yeah.
don't hold that back. We don't try and stifle ourselves. So I think our dynamic of just truly being your unapologetic, authentic self, it is safe to do that. People want more of you. People want you to be you. Like, yeah, it's safe to be yourself. You shouldn't feel the need to try and be someone you're not, to try and stifle your uniqueness, your creativity, your goofiness. No, be all of you. That's what people want. You can feel the authenticity. I hope you can feel the authenticity coming through the microphone from both Cindy and I. And yeah, it's an energy you can feel, and that attracts more positive, more authentic people in your life, more beautiful experiences. And yeah, use us as your energetic permission slip in our dynamic to be more of you.
That is fantastic. Thank you. Oh my goodness. If you could leave our listeners with one pearl of wisdom, what would you want to say to our listeners?
That you are worth it. You are worth the investment in yourself. You are worth the care. You are worth being taken care of by yourself and by the universe. You are worth it. And don't believe anything else.
Amazing. Amazing. And so, Nicole, thank you for sharing so openly. Like, you have just been so vulnerable with your stories that are deeply personal, and you have done that with such fun. And you've just led us along the journey with you because some of them are out there feeling lost. Some of them are out there feeling completely stuck and not really knowing where they want to go. And then by listening to your stories and realizing, oh my gosh, you've been walking through some stuff yourself. And look at where you are. You've come out the other side, really feeling empowered and aligned. And so I would just love to send so much love and gratitude to you right now. Thank you so much for doing this for us today because you are the other half of this Divinely Human podcast. And I wanted our listeners to get to know you a little bit more. I know you intimately. I love you with all my heart. And like, this is something that I felt our listeners would definitely be interested in because I'm interested in you. And so thank you so much. And so to everyone listening, thank you for being here today. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.